1 Samuel chapter 25. Then Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him, and buried him in his own house at Ramah. And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. Now in Maon was a man who had his possessions in Carmel, and the man was exceedingly mighty, and had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. The name also of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail, and she was a woman of singular wisdom and beautiful. But the man was churlish and evil-conditioned, and was of the family of Caleb. And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. Therefore David sent 10 young men. And David said unto the young men, Go up to Carmel, and go to Nabal, and ask him in my name how he doeth, and thus shall ye say for salutation, Both thou and thine house, and all that thou hast, be in peace, wealth, and prosperity. Behold, I have heard that thou hast shearers. Now my shepherds were with us, and we did them no hurt, neither did they miss anything all the while they were in Carmel. Ask thy servants, and they will show thee. Wherefore let these young men find favor in thine eyes, for we come in good season. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thine hand, unto thy servants, and to thy son David. And when David's young men came, they told Nabal all those words in the name of David, and held their peace. Then Nabal answered David's servants, and said, Who is David, and who is the son of Jesse? There may be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearers, and give it unto men whom I knew not whence they be? So David's servants turned their way, and went again, and came and told him all those things. And David said unto his men, Gird every man his sword about him. And they girded every man his sword. David also girded his sword, and about 400 men went up with David, and 200 abode by the carriage. Now one of the servants told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. Notwithstanding the men were very good unto us, and we did have no displeasure, neither missed we anything as long as we were conversant with them when they were in the fields. They were as a wall unto us both by night and by day, all the while we were with them keeping sheep. Now therefore take heed, and see what thou shalt do, for evil will surely come upon our master, and upon all his family, for he is so wicked that a man cannot speak to him. And Abigail made haste, and took 200 cakes, and 2 bottles of wine, and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of parched corn, and 100 frails of raisins, and 200 of figs, and laid them on asses. And she said unto her servants, Go ye before me, behold, I will come after you. Yet she told not her husband Nabal. And as she rode on her ass, she came down by a secret place of the mountain, and behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. And David said, Indeed, I have kept all in vain that this fellow had in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him, for he hath requited me evil for good. So and more also do God unto the enemies of David. For surely I will not leave off of all that he hath, by the dawning of the day, any that pisseth against the wall. And when Abigail saw David, she hastened, and it lighted off her ass, and fell before David on her face, and bowed herself to the ground, and fell at his feet, and said, O my lord, I have committed the iniquity, and I pray thee, let thine handmaiden speak to thee, and hear thou the words of thine handmaiden. Let not my lord, I pray thee, regard this wicked man Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, thine handmaid, saw not the young men of my Lord whom thou sentest. Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, the Lord, I say, that hath withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and that thine hand should not save thee. So now thine enemies shall be as Nabal, and they that intend to do my Lord evil. And now this blessing which thine handmaiden hath brought unto my Lord, let it be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespasses of thine handmaiden, for the Lord will make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, and none evil hath been found in thee in all thy life. Yet a man hath risen up to persecute thee, and to seek thy soul, but the soul of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of life with the Lord thy God, and the soul of thine enemies shall God cast out, as out of the middle of a sling. And when the Lord shall have done to my Lord all that good that he hath promised thee, and shall have made thee ruler over Israel, then shall it be no grief unto thee, nor offense of mind unto my Lord, that he hath not shed blood causeless, nor that my Lord hath not preserved himself. And when the Lord shall have dealt well with my Lord, remember thine handmaid. Then David said to Abigail, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. And blessed be thy counsel, and blessed be thou, which hast kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and that mine hand hath not saved me. For indeed as the Lord God of Israel liveth, who hath kept me back from hurting thee, except that thou hadst hasted and met me, surely there had not been left unto Nabal by the dawning of the day any that pisseth against the wall. Then David received of her hand that which she had brought him, and said to her, Go up in peace to thine house. Behold, I have heard thy voice, and have granted thy petition. So Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he had made a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing, neither less nor more, until the morning arose. Then in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, his wife told him those words, and his heart died within him, and he was like a stone. And about 10 days after, the Lord smote Nabal, that he died. Now when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be the Lord that hath judged the cause of my rebuke of the hand of Nabal, and hath kept his servant from evil. For the Lord hath recompensed the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. Also David sent to commune with Abigail, to take her to his wife. And when the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, they spake unto her, saying, David sent us to thee, to take thee for his wife. And she arose and bowed herself on her face to the earth, and said, Behold, let thine handmaiden be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Lord. And Abigail hastened, and arose, and rode upon an ass, and her 5 maids followed her, and she went after the messengers of David, and was his wife. David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they were both his wives. Now Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Palti, son of Laish, which was of Galim. 1 Samuel chapter 26. And again the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah before Jeshimon? Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him, for to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. And Paul pitched in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon, in the wayside. Now David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him unto the wilderness. For David had sent out spies, and understood that Saul was come in very deed. Then David arose and came to the place where Saul had pitched. And when David beheld the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, which was his captain, Saul lay in the fort, and the people pitched round about him. Then spake David and said to Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Abishai the son of Zeruiah, brother to Joab, saying, Who will go down with me to Saul to the host? Then Abishai said, I will go down with you. So David and Abishai came down to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the fort, and the spear did stick to the ground at his head, and Abner and the people lay round about him. Then said Abishai to David, God hath closed thine enemy into thy hand this day. Now therefore I pray thee, let me smite him once with the spear to the earth, and I will not smite him again. And David said to Abishai, Destroy him not, for who can lay his hand on the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? Moreover David said, As the Lord liveth, either the Lord shall smite him, or his days shall come to die, or he shall descend into battle and perish. The Lord keep me from laying my hand on the Lord's anointed. But, I pray thee, take now the spear that is at his head, and the pot of water, and let us go hence. So David took the spear and the pot of water from Saul's head, and they got them away, and no man saw it, nor marked it, neither did any awake, but they were all asleep, for the Lord had sent a dead sleep upon them. Then David went unto the other side, and stood at the top of a hill afar off, a great space between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner, the son of Ner, saying, Hearest thou not, Abner? And Abner answered and said, Who art thou that criest to the king? And David said to Abner, Art thou not a man? Who is like thee in Israel? Wherefore thou hast not kept the Lord thy king? For there came one of the folk in to destroy the king thy lord. This is not well done of thee. As the Lord liveth, ye are worthy to die, because ye have not kept your master, the Lord's anointed. And now see where the king's spear is, and the pot of water that was at his head. And Saul knew David's voice, and said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And David said, It is my voice, O my lord, O king. And he said, Wherefore doth my lord thus persecute his servant? For what have I done, or what evil is in my hand? Now therefore I beseech thee, let my lord the king hear the words of his servant. If the Lord have stirred thee up against me, let him smell the savor of a sacrifice. But if the children of men have done it, cursed be they before the Lord, for they have cast me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go serve other gods. Now therefore let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Lord, for the king of Israel is come out to seek a flea, as one who would hunt a partridge in the mountains. Then said Saul, I have sinned. Come again, my son David, for I will do thee no more harm, because my soul was precious in thine eyes this day. Behold, I have done foolishly, and have erred exceedingly. Then David answered and said, Behold the king's spear, let one of the young men come over and fet it. And let the Lord reward every man according to his righteousness and faithfulness. For the Lord hath delivered thee into mine hand this day, but I would not lay my hand upon the Lord's anointed. And behold, like as thy life as much set by this day in mine eyes, so let my life be set by in the eyes of the Lord, that he may deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, Blessed art thou, my son David, for thou shalt do great things, and also prevail. So David went his way, and Saul returned to his place. 1 Samuel chapter 27. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. It is not better for me that I save myself in the land of the Philistines, and that Saul may have no hope of me to seek me any more in all the coasts of Israel, and so escape out of his hand. David therefore arose, and he and his 600 men that were with him, and went to Achish, the son of Meshach, king of Gath. And David dwelt with Achish in Gath, he and his men, every man with his household, David with his 2 wives, Ahinoam and the Jezreelite, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. And it was told Saul that David was fled to Gath, so he sought him no more. And David said to Achish, If I have now found grace in thine eyes, let them give me a place in some other city of the country, that I may dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in the head city of the kingdom with thee? And Achish gave him Ziklag that same day. Therefore Ziklag pertaineth unto the kings of Judah unto this day. And the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines was 4 months and certain days. Then David and his men went up and invaded the Gershonites, and the Gerahites, and the Amalekites, for they inhabited the land from the beginning, from the way as thou goest to Shur, even into the land of Egypt. And David smote the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took sheep and oxen, and asses and camels, and apparel, and returned and came to Achish. And Achish said, Where have you been a-raiding this day? And David answered, Against the south of Judah, against the south of the Gerashomelites, and against the south of the Kenites. And David saved neither man nor woman alive, to bring them to Gath, saying, Lest they should tell on us, and say, So did David, and so will be his manner all the while that he dwelleth in the country of the Philistines.